Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Game 2 of this best of 3. It's from the Zotac Cup, and Game 1 left nothing to anything but excitement. So, let me introduce these two in the bottom right position. We have the Protoss player, it is PsiOniC, currently 1-0 up. His opponent in the top left, playing as the Terran, it is Happy. Map is a Hana, and therefore we should see quite a lot of action. Game 1 was pretty fantastic, I'm not gonna lie. We saw PsiOniC go for a very early bit of aggression in the attempt of a proxy robo-bay that was scouted. He went back into greedy expansions. He generally just went for a solid Blink Stalker style play and really shut down Happy, who tried to go for some drops, tried to go for some counter aggressions, was unsuccessful. PsiOnic's big win though was how well he controlled Happy's medevac count. He was able to snipe off so many of them throughout the game that it never really got to that critical mass you need to make infantry super effective. Then once the High Templar started hitting, the Storms started landing right on the money, and the Colossi started zapping everything from afar. That was when PsiOniC took the game in what was only able to be described as fantastic style. So in Game 2, being a best of 3, Happy has got to win this, and he's already shaking up his build. Game 1 we saw a 1 Rax command center, Game 2 1 Rax into a gas. More tech heavy, are we going to see a 1-1-1? Are we going to see some early Hellions? That is the question. PsiOniC though, he's going for a quick scout. He wants to know precisely what Happy's got in store for him, while just going for things fairly normal behind this, getting up the gateway, getting up the gas. Everything you would expect from a Protoss player early game. The wall off yet again completed by Happy, and that may leave PsiOniC guessing. Without that firm scout of the gas or lack of gas, you never know what's coming out. If it's going to be a quick command center like we saw in Game 1, or if it's going to be some kind of tech play. So that is quite frustrating, but something that you can solve by just keeping a probe around by the natural to see whether or not your opponent throws it down at a normal time. So the SCV going to be coming up into the main base, getting a good scout off, seeing that there's really nothing to be shocked by, nothing too scary, apart from the fact that it could yet again be that proxy robotics facility. But a Marine managed to take out the probe, and that means that suddenly PsiOniC doesn't have the scouting information he may want. Chucking down the chucking down the pylon there in order to prepare for a wall of, just closing it down a little should there be aggression incoming, and aggression is most likely what we're going to see. The factory already getting started, just a single gas at the moment though for Happy, so no Cloak Banshee straight off the mark, but still something that PsiOniC does need to be considering. He's getting down the Stalker now, got his first Zealot. With this probe, he's suggesting that actually I want to take my natural base relatively quickly, so it could be a 1-gate expansion, which is great economically as long as you hold off aggression. But what I really like out of Happy is this bunker at the front. It's denying scouting. There's no way for PsiOniC to be able to find out whether or not his opponent has taken the natural or not, but instead obviously we see Happy getting down that starport with the factory there. We're probably going to see some Hellion drops, and that in itself is very scary if you don't prepare appropriately for it. And the way you prepare appropriately is you need some pylons around the edge of your base. You need to have Stalkers in your main base ready to snipe off that medevac as quickly as possible. This one Zealot, this one Stalker are not going to have a fun time against that bunker, so they will be forced back maybe to the watchtower just to keep an eye out on it. But the starport is about to finish up, the Hellions on their way. This is a very aggressive style of play from Happy, but with the bunker there, there's not really any way to find out what's going on. But the Zealot actually just sacrificing himself, and that does give the all-important scouting information. Knows now that there is no natural base, knows that it's going to be a 1-base aggressive play, and all Happy needs to do, or all PsiOniC needs to do, is deny Happy the opportunity to get that drop in, or to get that aggression to be successful and deal some good damage. Precisely what's coming out, that is still unbeknown. But once you know it's a 1-base play, you sit back, you turtle up, pylon coming down at the edge of the base as well, just to keep that information, the early warning system you need. Warp gate tech nearly finished. Some additional gateways chucked down behind the mineral line. That again just closes up some space. It means the more Stalkers can get warped in, but forward come all of the units. The medevac loading up with Marines. The Hellions most likely to poke the front, the Marines from the main, and that multi-prong harassment can be so difficult to deal with as a Protoss player, but the Stalkers spreading out absolutely superbly And as such, this just means that Happy most likely not get any luck in here, and if he loses that medevac, it will be completely catastrophic to his play. This is such a commitment. He does have the natural coming down behind it, but in comes the medevac. Are we going to see the Stalker's reaction time? Yes, they do. PsiOniC immediately pulling back. He's going to try and pick up the medevac, because once that's down, all he has to do is clean up the Stalkers. One Stalker going down, a couple of probes dying at the natural, but because most of the probes are still up in the main, it's looking okay, but needs to be a little bit careful. In come the probes, trying to shut down the distance, trying to deny as many kills as possible, but a few probes are going to be going down. The Hellions getting cleaned up. 6 workers have been killed, but that was all. And if we look at the loss tab, Happy lost a lot more. The worker count is still in PsiOnic's favor, and now the problem comes for Happy that his opponent didn't get that much economic damage done. He's still ahead economically. Tech-wise, yes, Happy does have the advantage with having the ability to produce medevacs, but now forced to build the double bunker, trying to defend from this counter-aggression. All of the Marines were killed, so there's only these two lone Marines trying to defend everything that they can. More Marines are in production. SCVs getting pulled, trying to soak up some of the damage, knowing now that these Stalkers are coming in, but now the Marines have been taken out. It doesn't matter if these bunkers finish or not. The Marauder is the last line of defense. PsiOniC, though, dealing so much damage here. He's just got to stop the infantry from getting to those bunkers, and he will be A-okay. There comes down the salvage, the natural base being forced to sacrifice. And while we see now that PsiOniC hasn't actually managed to break into the main quite yet, this is certainly looking to be a very tough spot for Happy to be in. The supply depot down, and now the Stalkers come marching forward. There's no proxy pylon, so there's no instant reinforcements, but we see the Marauder getting focused, because once that Marauder's down, these Stalkers are going to be able to do so much damage. SCVs are getting pulled, which is never a good sign. They do manage to try and surround a couple of those Stalkers. 2 Marauders popping at once, and this should now be able to clean it up, as long as Happy is very careful to keep those Marauders alive. But a lot of SCVs are going to get taken out now, and those SCVs are really workers that Happy cannot be affording to lose. The reactor taking a lot of damage, more SCVs getting taken out. Behind this, of course, we see that PsiOniC just getting his probes and getting his pylons, sticking to the bases. The Marauder count is somehow managing to stay up. There is still 4 Stalkers chipping away though, and we can see that Happy is just down to a very subpar number of workers, even just from a visual check. Finally though, this aggression has been held off for 22 SCV kills. That takes the count to a very unfortunate looking 7 for Happy and 43 for PsiOniC. Now, admittedly, Happy does have 2 orbital commands. He can go for the double mule, but it just probably won't be enough, and this is really PsiOnic's game to lose. He is in such an excellent position, he couldn't really hope for much more. So, what have we seen so far? For anyone wondering, how did we get here? Basically speaking, we saw Happy go for a very aggressive 1-base play, 1 racks, 1 gas into a 1-1-1. Marine drop attempting to go into the main. Meanwhile, Hellions pushed into the natural, but the medevac was taken out very quickly. The Marines cleaned up. The Hellions only managed to kill 6 probes, and then the counter-aggression from PsiOniC, just with a lot of Stalkers, was absolutely devastating. And that just means that really the follow-on aggression is likely to be very strong. There is a few units out on the field, but we can see in the supply count over double the supply at the moment for PsiOniC compared to Happy. And with that, with just such a huge lead in terms of the workers, he is going to be absolutely perfect. The medevac does get focused down. That means these infantry units do have to be careful with how many stims they spend. Some force fields trying to go down, but PsiOniC is going to lose quite a few units here potentially. Good control out of Happy. He's microing to his best of ability, but this is just still looking very scary. There are so many units. The proxy pylon is on its way down. We've got additional gateways as well. We're up to 6 gates, if I'm not mistaken. Can't see any more around. And with 6 gates, that is just such a high production capability for PsiOniC. And with so little income for Happy, he just cannot afford to keep trading. And PsiOniC doesn't actually have to worry too much about throwing away units, because even if he trades somewhat cost ineffectively, Happy just doesn't have the economy behind to support this long term. And if he's forced to make any scans just to get a read on what his opponent's doing, it's going to get even harder. And things are just getting further and further in PsiOnic's favor. He's chrono boosting out the 1-1 upgrades. Not even an engineering bay out yet for Happy. That means upgrade advantage will go to PsiOniC. He's getting the Templar archives out. The Zealots charging on. Up charge makes such a big difference, but the Stalkers trying to focus down the medevac yet again. PsiOniC really does not like medevacs, but we can see these Zealots are now cleaned up. The tanking front line of PsiOniC's army has been taken out. Happy holds for the moment, but having lost a couple more workers, is knocked back down to 13 to the 57. The third base on its way down now for PsiOniC as well. Such a commanding lead is all I can say, and as such this just means that Happy is doing all he can. He's got to turtle up, he's got to take some risk, he's forced to abandon his natural base yet again. The Stalkers are going to try and do some damage here, but they're not going to be able to do too much because the high ground advantage and with no vision just means that PsiOniC does need to be a little careful just while he engages. But once these storms start hitting, once the High Templars start coming out, that is when things can get very, very scary. The small infantry group might be good against gateway only units, but once you start getting some splash damage and area effect, that's really when Marine Marauder Medevac doesn't cut it alone, and you need those ghosts against High Templar and Vikings against Colossi. 2-2 is now, 1-1 is rather complete. We should have 2-2 starting. There we go, more chrono boosting, double upgrades before even Happy has started to think about upgrades. Worker count wise, this is now at a third of PsiOniC's. The third base is also getting secured. This is just oh so important. This is really where PsiOniC takes a very strong lead. Happy is doing so well though, staying in this game, being a best of 3. If he loses this, he is out of the tournament, and therefore everything is to play for. Moving forward with a decent size, he's pulling a lot of SCVs as well because he needs something to tank this up. He knows that he's not going to catch up economically. He needs to do some good damage, but there's Guardian Shield trying to reduce the damage. The Zealots are going to start charging in those force fields. Absolutely perfect, and there is the GG straight away. PsiOniC with just such brilliant force fields there was absolutely precise and perfect, and wow. So I hope everyone enjoyed that best of 3. It was 2-0 to PsiOniC over Happy. Therefore, like the video if you did enjoy, leave a cool comment and subscribe, and I hope to see each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.